Welcome back to Orgy Story, a podcast about hosting, destigmatizing, something about group sex. First on the docket, gangbangs. We've done a whole series arc. Hopefully you've heard Dr. Lay, you've heard CR of the Dark Spartans, and you've heard our banner episode where we went into the entire topic. We'll release some more friend interviews. But today, I had so much fun going to the hotel room right beforehand. COVID hit, so I wasn't able to stay, but damn, she's an unbelievable interview. Ray is on the show, our first and most fantastic interview. She's just an unbelievable person to chat with. Coming up next on the podcast, toys. So listen in as we do a little break before we get to kink while we cover toys. Here starts the interview. Isn't it? We're good to start. I'm already a little nervous because you're scantily clad and you've admitted you're a little nervous. My first Orgy Story live. Ray, how are you doing? Thank you for taking the time.
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I got into Colorado Springs last night, so I've been kind of relaxing today, preparing for my event tonight. So
there we go. And I have quite a few questions. I apologize if this starts to sound like an interview at times.
It's okay. You can ask me any questions that you have.
All right, you are hosting a gangbang tonight. And I want to give people some context into this because you're about to embark on a 100-man Australia bang. So this is a big scale. This is not small scale. But give us an idea how many guys at one point. What's the most?
The most I've ever done?
Yeah.
31.
31.
Yes.
Damn.
And that was in Denver. So
sounds right. Our home base and easily one of the horniest cities.
It is. I thought I would break it in Portland, but I didn't. So.
Why Colorado, do you think? I'm a little curious. You've spent a few trips here. You're back after not many months. Why Colorado?
Yeah, I was in New Zealand for a year.
Okay.
And I think Colorado, because it's more liberal, it's more open to this sort of thing. So.
Weed, horniness. I
don't know. It's just a great environment. I've done multiple 20-plus gangbangs here. So.
Okay, you're at a gangbang. What makes it great? What makes it just fantastic?
For me, so I'm kind of like a video game. So I have like a level. So I really like cum. I like cum a lot, like all over my face, all over my body. So the more cum I get, the more motivated I am to keep going. But the exact opposite can happen. So if a guy takes a really long time to come, then I get frustrated and I no longer want to keep going. So the gangbangs that I've done where guys come quickly and we get through them quickly are my favorite.
I'm seeing the video game reference also.
So there's like a level. Like the more cum I get, the happier I am, the more motivated I am. But the longer it takes you to come, like if I have 10 guys in the room and you take 20 minutes, I have 9 other people to get to, then I get frustrated. So.
Okay, so it's somewhat sort of like a cum-based point system early.
It is,
and that can carry momentum, I imagine. Well, with 31 people, how many people are about to, I guess? Or is that when it's a little bit more of a waiting game?
So I don't do 31 guys at once. A lot of people think that I do.
Okay.
That doesn't happen. I think once, I think it was a few years ago, I did 27 guys, and that was like continuously. But normally how I set them up now is like 10 guys per hour. So guys sign up for like an hour slot. So like 7 to 8, 8 to 9. And then they show up for their hour slot and then they leave.
Okay. I saw your list and we'll give a little bit of intro about you as the interview is being developed. But you have a really copious rules list, which we fundamentally support and advise. We read ours for the orgy we hosted in season 1, and it's a lot of the same notes of like shower, be screened, be tested. Yes. The shower one is a surprising one. We have to mention to a lot of the gentlemen. If we're being more honest, it is usually guys that struggle in this category. What makes an orgy bad?
Well, for me, it's if you take a really long time. So like I have, let's say I'm going to do 50 guys. I have 50 guys I have to get to. If you take half an hour, then I only have half an hour to get to the other 9 guys. So you need to come and be prepared to come quickly. You can come again, but, you know.
This is a rarity, too, that guys are encouraged to come quickly.
So,
it's just not the norm in terms of, so you're saying if you're coming to a gangbang, and I think it's something people worry about orgy gangbang wise, like how should I come sexually? Should I come prepared to F for the night, or in your experience, a little quicker is better?
So I'm one of those women that doesn't like to have sex forever. I am happy with quickies all day long. I'd much rather have quickies all day than have sex all day long.
All right.
Like
short bursts.
15, 20 minutes, I'm happy. And then we can go again in like 10 minutes, but, you know, quickies all the way, so.
You've turned this in, and I've now gotten the chance to also meet your partner in crime, as I'll describe him, sort of like the road show. I have been trying to quantify who I'm interviewing and how I would describe what you do, and I came upon sort of rock band for orgies, because you are selling some content, you are making some professional versions, but you're also doing this as like a come to your favorite city and be a part of this gangbang. Was it something you just loved doing before? When do you take it from something that you know about and enjoy to something you become a traveling rock show for?
So I'll tell you about the first gangbang I did. Kind of explains it. So I had only done threesomes up to this point, so I had only done 2 guys and myself. And then there was a woman that I knew, her and her partner, who I'd been with. I'm also into women, kind of.
Shout out to the ladies.
But she was doing a gangbang, and she had a thing for black guys. So she was doing a gangbang with 12 black guys. And she's like, you can come watch and see if you like it. And then she let me join, and it was just natural. I took all the guys, and I loved it, and I just knew that's what I was supposed to do.
So you did have an epiphany gangbang experience.
I did, yep.
All right, because the part of, you and I were chatting about this beforehand, I was trying to impress you with my limited research knowledge. Pornhub says 1/3 of women are looking at this, they're seeking it out, it's something they would like to experience. I'm not sure women are necessarily ready to attend one, but you're an entertainer as well. How do you kind of suggest that people get into it if they're curious?
So my advice for women or husbands or boyfriends wanting to set up an event for their partner, the first one is start slow. So first do a threesome and see if she's comfortable with that, and then add guys. So
or he's comfortable with
or
that.
he's comfortable with that. You
really,
both, yeah.
Where we are in the partnership.
Yes. You both have to be very comfortable in that, opening your relationship. So first talk about it, and then do a threesome, see if you both like it, and then gradually add guys from there. So do 5 guys, and then 8, and then 10, or just stop whenever is good for you.
You're like, that was enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
The next advice is you have to have someone in your corner. So I have my partner who organizes events. He supports me. He's my security. He makes sure guys don't do certain things and they leave when they're supposed to. Without that, I could not do these events. Okay. So that's a big thing, is make sure you have a friend or your partner or someone that's looking out for you and is going to support you. And then the third thing is sexual health. So you cannot do these things without being safe. So I always use condoms unless people are properly tested. And my standard for testing is very strict for unprotected sex. So
I would imagine, especially, and that is a popular question, right? What type of protection? And for example, for tonight's event, it's condoms for the men that are joining.
Yes. I even use protection for oral if a guy hasn't been tested within the last 2 months. So.
Okay. So 2 months is about the range.
Yeah.
All right. And I usually, that's kind of mine when I'm just living a normal orgy slutty lifestyle as it is. It's like a 2 to 3 month. It's strongly recommended.
Yeah. You should be getting tested regardless, like every quarter.
And we can get in, I'll hit this subject because it's kind of coming up. Are there other dangers to this lifestyle? personally, professionally, now that you're not just doing it as something sort of secretly on the side, but that your face is out there and you're a promoter of this?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. There's potential security risks of people showing up and doing things they shouldn't or behaving badly. Luckily, I have my partner and he'll protect me. If my family or any of my friends found out that I do this, that would be disastrous. I'm sure we would get through it, but I'd prefer them not to find out. And then there's always the sexual health component, you know. I'm always putting myself at risk. I minimize the risk as much as I can, but there's always a risk in that aspect. So.
And speaking of, your partner, not a small human being, which is always helpful in terms of, which is a security risk, essentially. Have you had any moments where it's gotten a little dicey with some of the participants?
I'm lucky I've never had anything super bad. I've had some bad experiences after the fact with a few organizers getting crazy on me. And I had one guy, I don't like being spat on, and I had one guy accidentally spat on my face. I kind of just played it off, but I don't like that happening. Okay. So
it is on the list.
Yes.
It's on the list.
Yes. Besides that, nope, they've all been good. I think the main thing with gangbangs is there's so many men in the room that if someone was to act out, the other men would take care of it.
That interesting. Sort of a little community self-check, because and the sexual community has obviously changed quite a bit, but I would agree. I think you're going to get more people that really, this isn't a hidden lifestyle that they need to run away from. It's something they're more than happy to be a part of communally, which is a huge difference.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you have 5 guys in the room and one of them starts to act out, the 4 other ones are going to be like, that guy shouldn't be doing that, and they'll take care of it. Because I'm a small little woman. They're not going to expect me to be like, go off on him. I mean, I'm not helpless, but, you know, I'm not as strong as a man, so.
Sure. And that was a big, I mean, those are kind of the danger notes I had predicted. Any when it comes to where you're hosting, or are you usually?
It depends on the where you're hosting. There's always a risk there. There are ways around letting the place you're staying at know you're doing events. I had a very bad experience in New Zealand. I had a woman who was supposed to come watch the event. She went straight up to the hotel desk and was like, I'm here for the party.
Lovely.
And luckily, the person she was with played it off. He's like, no, we're just having a meeting. But no, you can't do that. You can't go to the front desk and be like, I'm here for the party or I'm here for that. You have to, keep it super low key.
Okay.
Because most places only allow like 2 or 3 in the room. And I throw very large events. So we have to strategically plan when guys come in and where they come in from. So.
And for a night like tonight, how many human beings are we talking about? How many guys?
It's 10 or 11 guys.
Okay. Which is, we're getting the fact check. 10 or 11. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad for what's happening right now in the country, the climate.
Yeah, which I'll kind of round third on, because originally that was also going to be part of my interest. I was like, maybe I'll stay and enjoy this and experience it, because I've certainly watched the video, the Oscar Mike shoot, which is a great shout out to anything that people want to buy. You can certainly find some of these videos online, and they are worth every penny.
Oh,
yeah, no,
thank you.
It's a compliment in terms of. This obviously looks like something you're passionate about. You put quite a bit of time and effort into, which kind of gets me into, did you have someone that was an influencer? Did you see someone making this model? How did you get to the point? Who was your role model? I don't know how else to say it.
I don't know if I really had a role model. I mean, that one woman, she let me join in, and she had done a lot of events. So I asked her questions about that. And then we actually did a few events together, which was great. But really, it was just me. This is just who I am. It's what I love to do. And even though I'm doing it professionally now, I would continue to do it recreationally regardless. Okay. I would gladly travel the world everywhere and just get gangbanged.
How do you do it? How do you travel the world? How do you decide where a location? You don't have to give away all your secrets. I assume we'll look for the book, The Art of the Gangbang.
Most of the time, it's not my decision. So if someone wants to bring me to their city, then they can. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is pay for the flight and the venue and get some guys, and I will gladly show up.
Okay. Flight, venue, people to show up, and that's not a ton because you use some various social networking sites that we strongly recommend for this type of activity if you're looking for it, which it's much more common. In addition to chatting with you, I am chatting with some people that try and throw more, I would call them more amateur versions of yours because, 3 or 4 guys, maybe 2 or 3. No shame in that game to start.
No shame, yeah.
And I'm long on the record for orgies recommending, because I went to an orgy that essentially it was about a 4-to-1 ratio of guys to girls, and it's the best orgy I've attended from that ratio perspective. I thought, because it normally takes about 4 guys to really please a woman anyway, let alone if you're trying to. Well, what's your orgy take? Would you recommend? What's your perfect ratio? Amateur versus professional. We'll do both.
Well, for me, so I'm very selfish when it comes to dick. So that's why I don't really let other women come to my events. I've done a few events with 2 women, but I do very large events, and so it's very hard to get a woman who would be on board to have sex with 50 guys, which is my next step. So I've worked up a few women. I don't know the term worked up, but
coached up, trained up.
I mean, I've trained them. I've gone slow with them. And then over time, they haven't worked out, so it's gotten a little frustrating for me in that aspect. But so for me, personally, the more guys I have around me, the happier I am. I just feel comfortable surrounded by cock. So that's, but I mean, there are other women who would be like 3 is enough. So it just depends on the woman.
3 is, I'll give you that. Okay. So user's pleasure in terms of, my thought would be it would be difficult to manage more than like 6.
I'd say the perfect thing would be 5. So all your holes are filled, and then if you can master it, both your hands are too.
And okay, master it indeed, because there's a lot of logistics required. Yes. Malcolm Gladwell says you need 10,000 hours to get great at anything, and people have just bastardized that, and I'm doing it again here. How many hours do you think you have of orgies?
Oh, I have a lot.
Of gangbang, excuse me.
I mean, normally a gangbang lasts up to 4 hours, and I've done 29 of them, so at this point, in the last 3 years. So. And
I do not have the mental capacity to even remotely do that math, but suffice it to say, a lot more hours doing gangbangs than most people.
Yeah, I would say.
And we just interviewed someone. She puts together women's erotica, and one of the stories was a gangbang, and it was mostly because it felt like it was kind of back. Like, it feels like the idea's back. There's more women requesting them than ever have before. But that also might be naive. What are your thoughts? Have they always been just going on, or are we in a gangbang renaissance?
I'm sure they've always been happening. I think it's with a lot of the websites and how, the climate's changing to being more open to that we are starting to see more of them, but they've always been there.
Okay. It's sort of like orgies then. It's a contentious debate, because I think we're in a slutaissance. I think we're in sort of...
I like that term. Yep.
But there's some consternation, because a lot of people would beg to differ and be like, we always have been. You all just talk about it more than maybe you did in previous generations.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're just more open to it. There are especially different places in the country that are more open to it. New Zealand is not one of them. I ended up bringing gangbangs to New Zealand. There are no really existing networks for gangbangs there. And a lot of the guys, they don't like the ratio, so they want more than one woman at the event.
Greedy.
Which, it's what you like. It's your preference. I'm not going to make you feel bad for your preference, but I have mine. So, but yeah, it was like pulling teeth to get the numbers I wanted in New Zealand. I think in the largest city I went, in Auckland, I set one up, and I could only pull like 15 guys. So...
15 is not no guys, though. That is,
No.
there's clearly a supply-demand
But
issue.
in a city of 1 million people, you would think I would get more than 15 men.
That's interesting. Okay, are you finding a similar, because now I definitely want to ask you across cultures, okay? New Zealand, a little less into it, which is surprising. But U.S.-wise, is it state consistent, or are you finding like certain parts, Ohio or Portland or Denver, are certain parts more kinky?
Like I said, I thought Portland was gonna be the place to break my record because I had 85 guys RSVP'd to my gangbang in Portland, but sadly only 15 showed up.
They talk a big game in Portland.
They must.
They talk a lot about the strip
but
club ratio. They talk a big game.
They have a lot of strip clubs there, and they have a lot of good adult theaters. I got to explore some glory holes while I was there, which was fun. But yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about you. You
Okay.
have a variety of sexual interests that makes you disposed to this. You enjoy cum play. It sounds like glory holes.
Mm-hmm.
So this was something you saw. Describe now what it's like for the gangbang tonight. What will sort of your excitement be like right as it starts? Is it still there? Is it a little bit more? This is maybe another show. Like, how do you?
No, it's always fun. I always get nervous before events, even though I've done 29 of them. I still get nervous because I'm pushing my body. You know, I'm having to meet new people and put myself out there and perform at a certain level because I have a high standard for myself. So I always want to perform well. And so how it starts off is I have to get them all hard. So I don't have any fluffers. I don't have anyone who helps with any of that. I
can attest. There's no one else here.
So I just go from dick to dick, getting them all hard, and then we just do multiple positions. I usually try to get some DPs in there. Not always successful, but DP is hard to do, so a lot of logistics involved in that.
We threw a DP party in season 1. A lot of logistics.
There is, yeah. I've mastered the side DP. I did one, and it was really cool. I was really happy I could do the side DP. It's all determined by dick length, so if you have really long dicks, you can do like any DP.
And dick length has to be a uniting factor in terms of what you've seen at different parties, but does it help to have? We get this question a lot. Should people be concerned about their size for these types of parties?
I'm never concerned about a guy's size, you know. As long as you come on my face, I'm happy.
Especially if you come fast. It turns
yeah,
out.
yeah. If you come fast and it's a lot, I'm in super white. I'm happy. That's what I like. But no, really, there's no dick length requirement for any of my events. For double penetration, you kind of have to have longer dicks, though. It's just a matter of the fact is you're going in one hole and he's going in the other, and you kind of have to have long enough dicks to do that. So.
And the flexibility to get in that position.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'll also throw a challenge your way: the standing DP. Just keep it in the back burner.
I've tried it a few times. Yeah, I've had guys pick me up a few times, but I have yet to do the standing one.
Okay.
I want to, though. That would be awesome.
So do you climax during these? Is there orgasm components related to this, or is it more of an adrenaline rush?
It's a little of both. So it's harder for me to come during a gangbang because my mind is all over the place. So when I have like 5 to 10 dicks around me, I'm focused on so many other things besides coming, because coming's all mental. It's in your head. And so mentally I can't really get to that spot. Sometimes I do during double penetration or like being fucked in the ass. Really makes me come easily, but it just depends. But normally during an event I don't come as often as you would think.
Okay. I can't. So I did a nude story. I'm a comedian by trade. Is how I got into this. And I did a naked storytelling show where I was doing nude comedy, and it was like, am I going to be more worried about my nudity and that interaction, or am I still just going to be worried about performing and the jokes? And I was mostly just still nervous about performing and the jokes. Do you kind of consider yourself giving people an experience then when you're doing these? Because you said performance, like you want to.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about a lot of other things like tightening my pussy or keeping my mouth open or like deep throating a guy. Like my mindset is focused on the other person's pleasure so much in an event that I can't think about my own. And then sometimes I'm just overloaded and I end up like squirting or whatever, but it just depends on the event.
That is that's a good sales pitch to people because they're like, well, now I have to arrive because I might be at the squirting one. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
at the
might.
squirting
Sometimes I just happen to do it. Spontaneous.
Mid
So,
gangbang.
yeah. I've soaked a few sheets. So, yeah.
Adding to the not helpful when they say, where's the party at the front desk? Just a small note, though. That's got to be not even a top 10 thing that hotels,
Yeah.
it's like, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Logistically, it also takes a little bit out of you because you're already setting up food. You're going to be drinking wine during, I assume?
No, so I usually have like a daily ritual or before I do a gangbang. So I always get to the hotel early so I can relax and clean the holes that need cleaned and get pretty or whatever. And then I usually have a glass or two of wine before the event, but a few hours before because you can't really suck dick with lots of liquid or food on your stomach. Successfully anyway. So
Not the way you suck dick, which
yeah.
is a more aggressive and enthusiastic version than the norm. I would quantify out.
It's just I love doing it. So all of that is just the love that I have for sucking dick. So
Enthusiasm.
yes,
It's a good message for people.
yes, enthusiasm. Yeah,
Love what you do. You gotta love it.
I sure do. Yeah, you're better at things that you love. So there's that.
And occasionally you do podcasts and performance things as well. But you're doing photo shoots. You're doing a whole barrage. Does that also? What's the coolest part of this lifestyle currently?
Well, the craziest thing to me is there's so many people who want to shoot with me. I'm like, I didn't think I would get that much attention very early on in my career. So that's crazy to me that all these people are like, I want to shoot with you. I want to do this. You're going to be great. So I have a lot of support already early on, which is awesome.
Random people driving from Denver just to try to talk to you. Last time you were in Denver, you had multiple photo shoots going on.
I did, yeah.
So you keep pretty busy, I guess, is also my point.
Yeah, I try to. I had a lot of things planned for April and nothing in May, but a few things in June, and I'm hoping the climate doesn't affect that. I'm open in April now. They rescheduled all of that, but unfortunately, I'll probably plan some fun event at my house just because, I get bored and I need multiple dicks, so.
And you do. So you are a self-proclaimed slut. You say it in your communication. This is something you do for fun, and I think if people follow you on social media, they can attest. This is like a day-to-day.
Yeah.
You enjoy it. You have a partner that enjoys it. So it's.
Yeah, it just completes who I am. I love what I do, and I am a slut.
Hey.
And I proudly am one, so.
Ditto. And proudly myself, because I was asked recently if the tables, and I'm bi, so I sleep with men and trans women as well.
That's fine.
And there was essentially a question of like, would you want to be gangbang? And I was like, yeah, I think I'd be all about it, especially if I got to arrange it the way I'd like. I think I'd be ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing is that sometimes with the numbers I'm trying to pull, the guys aren't as, attractive as like you see in porn when they're all perfect and they're all muscular and have huge dicks. It's not like that.
That's not how guys are. This is
not normal.
Breaking news. This is gonna hurt a lot of
so it's
fans'
not.
hearts.
Yeah. A lot of the gangbangs I set up are just normal guys, and it's fun. I enjoy it. Am I attracted to all of them? Not all the time, but I enjoy giving pleasure. It's one of my kinks, so I enjoy doing it regardless. So
that's a great observation. You're not always 100% attracted, but you still get a pleasure out of kind of doing what you love, which is a group of guys, which it's a different thing. There's a pack to it. There's sort of just a rawness that takes over, and I mean that in an emotional way, obviously, and it's just extremely hot. But that's definitely going to be a question. What do you do to facilitate this if you're either extremely picky, you're only attracted to a certain type of body or guy.
Yeah. So that would become a lot more difficult. The numbers that you're looking for would be diminished by a lot. You could maybe get 3 to 5 super attractive guys, but that's probably the numbers that you'd be stuck at.
I'm gonna get to just a cool graphic story from you that'll give the listeners a little bit more of the sex they're looking for. Before that, I'm gonna massively bum them out. We are in the middle of a global pandemic. You're still hosting events. I don't know if it's at the same ferocity it would be, but have you noticed an impact with what's going on?
Yeah, I have. I've also gotten a lot of negative comments from people for me still doing events. And, I'm taking risks, but, we're all adults. I'm not asking them to do anything crazy. They're choosing to come do this stuff, and I'm choosing to do it. I mean, we all take risks every day. Take risks driving, take risks going to work. And I'm choosing to do this because it completes me. It's who I am, and I would probably be depressed and not happy if I wasn't doing it. So, but yeah, the numbers have been affected by it, definitely. But, if a guy doesn't want to come due to the risks, then I don't hold that against them. So
there you go. And it's a damper on all our sex lives currently, just in terms of the bummer of the news and the difficulty of just the day-to-day life. But let's get to a positive note, because I do have to send you off to a gangbang here soon. I requested 3 hours of her time. They were like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, which I
have till like a little before 6.
I'm just giving you grief at this point, because you two are a blast. You've been super easy to work with. One of the things we do want to highlight, how did you give us a euphoric moment when you were like, this is what I wanted? Was it in New Zealand? Has it happened in the last few weeks? Just give us a star orgy moment.
That's hard because I've had a lot of them. I think a lot of them is when I get multiple cum shots at once. That's been awesome. To feel super slutty and dirty. That's awesome. I really like it when I have cum all over my face and then guys fuck me. That makes me feel really just euphoric, and that's just who I am. Covered in cum and just being fucked is just who I am. So.
And as we all know now, you just need a short break, more cum, and more fucking, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, normally I take like a 5-minute break, and then I'm ready to go again. So there's been events where it was like 8 to 10 people, and I got through all of them, and I was ready for more. So, but it's not always like that.
Oh.
So.
When was the last one? What was the last time you had more than 2 or 3 guys? Or right at 2 or 3, I guess it counts.
2 or 3?
What's a gangbang? You more than 4?
Yeah, I would consider a gangbang at least 5 people.
Okay.
So, but that's my own definition.
That'll be a debated topic.
Other people have
different
definitions for it, but for me, a gangbang is at least 5 people.
And what was the last one you had? When?
My last gangbang was in Chicago on the 21st.
So about 10 days ago, 10 days ago. And how was Chicago?
It was fine. I was only there for 19 hours. I flew in, went to the hotel, and then flew out. So
you were there for 19 hours and having sex for at least 4 or 5 of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a professional shoot, so it was a little different than what I'm doing tonight. And then I had a bukkake on the 26th at my place, but that's not a gangbang. That's just getting cummed on, which is awesome. So.
And explain the difference. Do people fuck you at the bukkake, or they're just coming? They're just there to come on your face.
So a bukkake is basically a blow bang. Well, a lot of people have different definitions for it. A bukkake technically is just coming on the person, but I broke that at the last bukkake I did and sucked all their dicks, and then had them come on me. So it was 7 guys. It was good.
7. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Bukkake. Gangbangs, which those are going to be helpful delineations. It also does highlight how hard you're working, which you are. What's been the most exhausting part? Is it the travel? Is it just the random? I mean, what's the most exhausting part of this right now?
I would say the traveling. A lot of traveling. It gets exhausting, Sometimes I'm like, I just want to stay home, but then, I enjoy these events, and I've never canceled an event. So I don't want to do that starting now, even in a pandemic. So I always show up to all my events, even though if I'm tired or whatever, I'll just take caffeine and perform just fine. But I couldn't do any of this without my partner. He's the one who organizes them, makes sure the guys show up, talks to them,
Recruiting, which is
recruits them.
difficult.
And I just do the sex part, which is what I love to do. So, and yeah, so he does that, which is great. If I had to do all of it, it definitely would not be as successful.
It's why I didn't know how else to describe you other than sort of a rock band, because it does require multiple parts to make this show happen, and it's a show you're bringing to the road and to the people. What is the difference between a shoot like tonight versus a professional shoot?
The main difference is like starting and stopping, and then also having to position yourself in certain positions. It depends on the shoot you're doing. So like the one I did in Chicago was more relaxed, so he kind of just let me be myself, which was great. And in a professional shoot, most of the guys are tested, so it's unprotected, versus recreational, it's never unprotected, unless you get tested within 14 days of the shoot. But, most people don't do that, so.
Yeah, and that, I mean, even right now, it's a little harder to get tested because I was up on my regular schedule time. Couldn't get tested. So
yeah.
It's one of those, we are living in an eerie world, but the thing I have been hoping there is, and I don't know if because there's a certain confidentiality, and I get you don't want to share everything. Has there been a funniest orgy, funniest gangbang moment?
Well, I'll tell you one of them. So I was doing the gangbang in Auckland, and it was about 10 guys, I think, that were in the room with me. And we ended up keeping the curtains open, and we were on the top floor of this hotel. And then halfway through the event, there were like these women across the way, like waving at us and like hollering, and like they like loved what was happening. They could see what was happening and they loved it. And it was great to see that response versus the opposite of what actually most of the time people would be like calling the front desk and be like, these people are doing nasty things in the room. Instead, these women were like all about it. It was really awesome to see that.
This was the 1/3 Pornhub was talking about.
Yeah.
They finally, maybe they're proving me wrong. Maybe I should start trusting their statistics.
Yeah.
I've been weary. It's an emerging topic. And to me, the reason I like talking about gangbangs, and one of the things I've noticed is it's also female empowering. And as a subject, do you feel empowered during these? Because to me, there's also a feminist angle to being.
Oh yeah, I feel super empowered, and I like to be the center of attention, so that's great. I get to be at these events. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the middle of the room and they're all looking at me, and I get to perform and make them all feel good, and they all come here for me, which makes me feel great and really humbled. So
there's an energy to it.
Yeah.
And it definitely is, from Cosmopolitan talking more about it, because the proponental threesome, the MMF threesome is still, to me, the ideal. It's kind of the gold standard if you're going to try one. And I think advice-wise, what do you give to guys? We've talked a little bit about ladies. How do you start? How do you seek it out? I think from guys either in a relationship where their partner wants one or interested in being a part of this.
I think the main thing is for one, talk to your partner. Make sure it's what they want to do. Have in-depth conversations about it. Me and my partner talked about doing stuff before we did it. And then we ended up, searching for a guy for a long time, and then both decided on one, and then it ended up being great. So that's the main thing, is open communication about all of this. Because one of you might like it and the other one might not. So you have to be able to communicate. And then the next thing is find reliable networks. So there are networks here in Colorado that do gangbangs. I know of 2. And there are networks all over the country that do them. So my advice would be getting in with the network, and hopefully they can help you set up events. So.
Hell yeah. And our standard rules are just drop the jealousy and think about how cool it is. You're going to, if you just don't lead with jealousy and lead with, well, is it fun first, you're going to be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone, but if you see that the woman you're with or the man you're with is enjoying it, then maybe try to think about it from their perspective.
Can people come and just watch one of your gangbangs?
I've let women, yeah, like I said, that woman came and watched. I'm open to women coming and observing to see if they want to do one. So it can definitely be intimidating. So the number of guys I do and the way that they run can sometimes be intimidating. But I'd like more women to get into this sort of thing, and I'm definitely open to answering any questions that women have about it. So
where can people find you if they want to contact you? You don't have to give it out to these perverts, but you're welcome to.
I'm all over. I'm on FetLife, Twitter, Reddit. Yeah.
Great
Instagram.
Reddit follow.
Yeah.
And you interact with fans, which is fun because occasionally you'll put them on blast if they deserve it, or just promote the hell out of their horniness if I guess they deserve it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the team. Hold on. We're starting to... We'll keep some of the mystery alive. It's the rock band. They will interact with their fans, which should put people on notice to be on your
well, the one thing
respectful naughty behavior.
I can't do any of this without fans, without people supporting me, and so I love my fans. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We will see you next time talking about toys. Orgy story. Tell a friend. Do you want a season 3? I mean, tell a friend. Orgy story.